Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Temple of Speed. Welcome to Monza here in Italy and the final round of the legendary EG Evolved RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship. 22 seasons ago, we have seen champions rise and fall, legacies made, and legends born. But that being said, for the 23rd season, we are in for a fight. What was 7 rounds of back-to-back battles, drivers giving it their all, the highs, the lows, the thrills, the spills, all come down to one last shot. Round 8 of the championship. And it's all about who will be the quickest. How far are you willing to go to score the win? How far are you going to go to get yourself to the top? Over 100 drivers across 2 servers have all fought it out throughout the season. But only one in each class can say they truly champion. Welcome to the Pro and Pro-Am server. My name is Stephen Koenig. Glad to have you all here. And on cameras, we have Tim. On the stands, we have got Jim. And in the points for our pros, Henry Mayer leads out with 321 points. Christoph Peterson in second place. Daniel De Villiers in third. Second and first is on the cards here. Christoph Peterson needs a win here tonight to maximize the points and to get 75 points to run ahead of Henry Mayer. And Henry needs to fall out of the top 5. Daniel De Villiers holds on to third place, but Bego Robler in fourth chases him down as 238 points for Daniel De Villiers in that Nissan GTR. Bego Robler in fourth with 222 points. Fleming Bauer chases down on 209 points in the top 5 for our Pro. On to our Pro-Am. Reginald Mutilini clutching on to first place. Is currently sitting on 252 points. 10 points ahead of Rian van der Race, who had a nightmare of a time. But now, he's looking for blood. Jared Beckham sits there for Team Wolf with 226 points. Can he pull the cat out of the bag here to ensure he stands at the top and gets into second, possibly first place? Keegan Bowen going to be chasing him down in fourth place on 211 points. And Johan Verveers sits there on 195 points. Only 4 points off him. Sean Loureiro, who's tied with Anton Lammers. It's going to be a great race here at the beautiful circuit of Monza. But that being said, there's only one thing to do. And that is straight down to qualifying. As our drivers start putting in the final qualifying run of the season. And we're in for an absolute treat as every single one want to ensure they are at the top of the pile. Henry Mayer leads out the pack for the Pandacity NOC team, but Daniel De Villiers chases down in second place. Christoph Peterson currently holds third. 147 is their mark, but Henry Mayer with a 146.5. Bego Krobler in fourth place in the Ferrari 296 with Rian van der Race leading out the Pro-Ams with the Chromadulis team sitting in fifth place. Darren Miller up into sixth with Jason Farmer hot on the heels. Jared Beckham sits in second place of the Pro-Ams. Jared Pretorius and Sean Loureiro looking to really close up the time. Now this is where it's going to be a very, very difficult moment for the drivers to really stand above all. And so far, times are looking good. At the moment, Christoph Peterson down into fifth place as Fleming Bauer puts himself into second. Darren Miller up into third. Jason Farmer, De Villiers hold fourth and fifth. But Christoph Peterson with 0.3 of a second up on his time. He's hoping to make it work out in his favor. Coming out of Ascari and driving all the way down to Parabolica. Going to be late on the brakes. Down into second. Going into third gear. So down the gearing. Turn through the long right-hander, 0.5 up on his time. Remember, he needs a win here to go and fight for the championship. He needs Henry Mayer out of the top 5 to go and ensure a lockout win. But here he comes, Christoph Peterson across the line with a 146.8. Behind Henry Mayer's 146.5. Fleming Bauer holding third place. But it's Kurt Bukes who goes for the Singers Racing up into fourth place. Currently 0.1 up on his time. Jason Farmer going and stretching his legs a little bit. 0.4 up as he makes his way through. Joe Bukum leads out our Pro-Am, but Rem for the race. Currently 0.3 up on his personal best. Can he carry it all the way through to the end to fight it out? 27 cars will be taking to the circuit here, and it's going to be all eyes to the sharp end of the field. There's 8 minutes to go. Couple of drivers not in where they want to be. Reginald Muteleni being one of them, fighting out for first place. A first ever Pro-Am victory in the championship of the cards here, but he is going and looking to start at the back of the field with a 148.7. Did put a wheel wrong and unfortunately lost a bit of time. Taking a look out to everyone out there in the legendary grandstands, sponsored by EG Evolved. We do have the amazing Antonio Gamble that's been following us around the world. Ojon Blender all going and saying, go Stingers. We've got the Stingers Racing. It's going to be happy with this one. Adam Bowen, Derek Bukum, and Cameron Nell going and joining us out there in the grandstands. Good to have you all. Henry Mayer for the Pandassi team, 0.1 up over his teammate. Both Fleming Bell and Henry Mayer had a run in LMU last night and hoping to carry some of the momentum that they had last night to work out in their favor. 146.5 to beat as they will continue on. Darren Miller in 7th position for the Lamborghini, going and making it work out in his favor here. Alan Patterson been giving a bit of talking to of how to get this car working out. Lots and lots of work in the PWSR pit to ensure they stay in top running order and want to get a little bit closer in the points to Daniel De Villiers, who's down in 10th place at the moment with the Nissan GTR, not quite having the cornering needed to go and pick up the pace. He's 0.4 up on his lap time, but a 146.5 is the target to beat. Has he got enough in the tank to make it work to move himself up into the top 5, ensure that he's at least closer to the front row? Unfortunately, getting a wheel wrong as he came through Ascari won't be helping out in his favor. Henry Mayer coming out of Parabolica, utilizing tow of Fleming Bauer to his advantage. 0.4 up on his personal best, will come across the line and gets a 146.130. Fleming Bauer giving him the tow to ensure they lock out the first and second row. Jason Farmer in 3rd place. Kurt Bukes got to be the next one to try and put the hammer down and see if he can make it work out. 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in qualifying, and it's going to be all eyes on for the drivers to really push as hard as they can. Jared McComb still holds on to the top spot for the Pro-Am. Ready for the race. Fortunately, nothing in the bag this time round. He's hoping to just claw back some of the time. Lucan Haynes out on the circuit for the Racing Snails. Currently 0.6 up on his personal best. A very, very good time. That's going to be on the cards. 147, possibly touching on to a 46 if that BMW can work out in his favor through Parabolica. Puts the hammer down. He wants to get towards the front row. Swings it out wide. Brings it nice and close towards the pit wall to try and cross the line a little bit closer to the front. He does rocket himself out just out of the top 10. He's in 11th place with a 147.4. Has he got enough in the bag to get himself into the top 10? Chris Biermeister also trying to get the hammer down for the Pandacity team. 0.2 of a second up on his personal best, along with Vesselwoda, who's currently 0.1 up on his personal best. So drivers are still digging deep here. They're still trying to figure out what is going to work out for them and how far are they willing to go. How much have they got left in the tank to ensure they're in fighting order? Nonetheless, as we do see, unfortunately, Chris Biermeister and Vesselwoda going to be stopping their cars and getting themselves sorted out. Ruben Heineke out 0.1 of a second to try and improve his time. Everyone looking for any advantage. Bego Hrobler, after a devastating loss, falling out of the championship last night due to car getting a bit broken coming out of the Porsche curves into Chevy corner. Now looking to put himself into the top 3 for the ACC Pro Division. However, he has got his teammate Jared Bakum in the Pro-Am that is starting out in 7th position. Not a bad thing to start side by side, but for a pro driver, you really don't want to be stuck by a Pro-Am showing you up, especially a young driver like Jared Bakum, who was invited to be part of the Team Wolf, showed his mettle, and will be moving on to Pro come season 24. That will open up. Beggar Krobler, 0.2 of a second up on his personal best, as we do see a bit of destruction from the braking boards on the right and left-hand side at Temporello 1 and 2. Now, there you go, hoping to make it work out in his favors. Johan Fierce also putting the hammer down, looking to claw back. It's been a rough time this week for the Fierce family. Unfortunately, in the LMU, car breakdown and retirement forced the team to scratch their heads and try and figure out what is going to be the next game plan for Johan Fierce out in the Pro-Ams. He's hoping to claw it all back and to be in the fight yet again. He's in the top 5. On 195 points, he has got a chance to get ahead of Keegan Bowen and get close to Jared Bakum to hold on to a 3rd place, but has got the pressure of Sean Larrera and Anton Lummers that are going to be right on his back in points. So he needs to ensure to beat out Larrera, to beat out Anton Lummers, and ensure that he holds some good ground. Richard Mutalini hoping to really improve as we see Vesselwoda coming across the line. He is really putting the hammer down. Reginald Mutalini up into 14th position. Sees the Pandacity cars diving out of the way. He does come off the gas a little bit more. Reginald already down, trying to figure out where can he go, and seeing both Pandacity cars out there. He lifted off the gas, and he is going to have one more lap to do it. Is there enough time to get across the line and give it one more flying lap? Well, it's going to come down to how much they can put the hammer down. Fleming Bauer, 0.1 up on his personal best. Jared Bakum, 0.1 up on his personal best. And Johan Fierce, 0.1 up on his personal best. Everyone else is down their personal best, not looking to improve, but have a chance to give it one more lap here at Monza. The final qualifying of the 2023 season of the EG Evolved GT3 Championship here on Assetto Corsa Competizione, powered by RaceFace.Pro. And one last time to say I'm starting into the top 10. And at the moment, we've got 2 Pro-Ams, Rian van der Race and Jared Bakum, who look to start in the top 10, with Rian van der Race going to be lying up next to Beggar Krobler, who will have to keep a close eye because Jared, his teammate, will be hunting down to get past as fast as possible as Ruben Heineke is in the mix. Darren Miller down on his last set of lap times, trying to make it work as he puts a wheel off on the left-hand side. He's down 0.1 after that. He's still going to keep his foot in, possibly to get some more pace underneath him as 12 seconds remain of our qualifying here at Monza. Reginald Mutalini, no improvement from his side, but has got one more lap to make it work as he crosses the line. And it does look like Gerald Pretorius doing exactly that. He's got one more lap. Vesselwoda has one more lap. Jonathan Chrysler and Benjamin Till still have a lap to go as Gerald Pretorius going and stopping. Jason Farmer dives into pit lane. Darren Miller just out of that top 10 in 11th position. Comes around Parabolica. Aims towards the straight. Is it going to be enough for the Lamborghini to absolutely put a time on the board to get into that top 10? He does cross the line. However, no improvement, and will have to concede to the 11th position. Reginald Mutalini and Vesselwoda still out on circuit, trying to improve. Reginald really throwing the car around. Benjamin Till going and giving it everything he's got. He's 0.2 up on his personal best. He lies in 27th position, looking to at least get into the top 15 and get a little bit closer to his teammates. Late on the brakes, hooks it through Parabolica, gets flat on the gas and trying to push that a little bit more. Is it going to be enough though when he comes across the line? 0.3 of a second. Benjamin Till Out of 27th, yes, up into 24th position. Reginald Matalini next to come on by is down 3 seconds, unfortunately. That is not going to improve his time. Vesselwoda also not able to improve his time. They're going to have to just wait it out, get used to pulling into the pits and focus their charge for the race coming up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get ready for it as we are going to be fighting it out. The top running order. Who is going to have enough in the tank to fight their way through? And if you're just joining us for the first time this season, a massive welcome to you all. Welcome to RaceFace.Pro and welcome to the final round of the EG Evolved Assetto Corsa Competizione GT3 Championship. And where have you been? We have gone 7 rounds back to back on a weekly basis, going and fighting it out. 1 hour, 20 minutes worth of racing. Whether it's been extremely hot, whether it's been cold, whether it's been rainy, dark, or sunshine, we've seen it all. Drivers had to overcome some of the worst conditions that they could even imagine for one last chance. Here tonight at Monza, we're going to see everyone giving it their absolute all. Pressure starts to mount as we've got not only a Drivers' Championship but the Pro-Am. Reginald Matalini, Rian van der Race and Jerry Beckum are holding the top 3, but our pros are also close by, with Christoph Peterson needing a victory here tonight. Henry Mayer needing to drop out of the top 5. Henry Mayer leads out first place. Christoph Peterson in second. Daniel De Villiers holds third. Fourth is Bagel Krubler, and Fleming Bauer is in 5th place. But we talk about this, we also got to talk about our team standings, as Pandacity Infiltrate currently leads out the pack with 562 points, miles away from the rest of the team. They have taken the team championship. Stingers Racing currently in 2nd place on 306 and defending against Logistical Nightmare Racing on 298 points. Griffin Sim Racing holds 4th, and the PWSR holds 5th place in the team standings. But here at Monza, it's go time for the drivers. We get underway, getting ready to go, and drivers needing to dig deep of where they're going to be come the end of the race. And we're in for an absolutely well time. Henry Mayer, Fleming Bauer will be fighting it out at the top of the order, but they can't keep themselves too busy at this point. They need to concentrate on the mainstay of it all. What is going to happen? Who is going to be leading out the pack come the end of the race? I mean, this is where stress comes in. This is where, what are you thinking for the final time? So as the drivers take off from the line for the last time of season 23, we're going to run through the grid of the EG Evolved GT3 Championship. It's Henry Mayer and Fleming Bauer that hold out the front row. Christoph Peterson in 3rd place with Jason Farmer, Kara Bukes, Daniel De Villiers, Rian van der Race leads out our Pro-Ams. Bagel Krubler next door to him. Jerry Beckum, second of our Pro-Ams. And Rune Heineke going and locking up that top 10. Darren Miller, Tienes Puerta, Lucan Haynes, Reginald Mutalani, Sean Larrera, Herman Whitner, along with Keegan Bowen, Gerald Pretorius, Chris Biermeister, Johan Verveers rounds out our top 20. And we got Henny Porfita, Vesselwoda, Anton Lubbers, Benjamin Till, Ulrich Diaga, Jonathan Chrislet, along with Henk Petersen, and rounding out the pack, starting from pit lane, is going to be Jackie Alberts, who didn't get a time on the board, is a late join to the grid, and it's going to be an interesting one. We got to jump to the helicam and keep an eye on the top 10, because we all know Monza, it is a difficult circuit to overtake, as you're going to have to really go deep on the brakes to try and get it going. It's all about how much grip you actually have at the end of your stints. When are you going to do the pit stops? But we all know, and sim races, the infamous T1 here at Monza, extremely difficult, hard braking zone that creates a concertina effect that all the drivers have to be well aware of you're going to have to brake much earlier than you used to. 300 meters if you're in the mid-grid, sitting in the case of Tienes Puerta and below. You're going to have to dive for the brakes at 300, wait for everyone to go, and start working your way through. Jan Fiers and Jackie Alberts will be starting from pit lane and looking to keep an eye on the rest of the field going through. Panassi holds out first and second. They've taken the team championship, so congratulations to the Pandacity team on taking the RaceFace.Pro and EG Evolved GT3 championship for season 23 as a team. However, for a driver championship, Henry Mayer can't fall out of that top 5. Christoph Peterson cannot get a win, but with Henry Mayer and Fleming Bauer going to be duking it out amongst one another after fighting out an LMU. Let's see how many old scars are left on the drivers a day later. Rian van der Race and Jared Koom are going to be right near each other. The two Pro-Am drivers looking to stamp their name in history and to fight out. The Gramadulis Racing up against the likes of Team Wolf as they all slow down to 70 kilometers an hour. This is where it starts getting tense. You can see some of the drivers, a little bit of a weave, generating some heat into the tires. Others are going to be focusing on the brakes just to build up any bit of temperature there as possible. As we take a look from our helicam just to see if anything goes on heading into T1. The question is Henry Mayer going to get the jump on Fleming Bauer as they round Parabolica? It is 70 kilometers an hour, staggered side by side with Christoph Peterson. Jason Farmer hot on the heels. Lights on, and for the final time, we will go racing as they launch off the line. Henry Mayer gets a phenomenal run. Christoph Peterson trying to close off the door to Jason Farmer, but it is Daniel de Villiers who gets the drive, looking to sneak his way through and up into 4th place. Late on the brakes, they all go, diving in, and looks like Miller nearly getting run into the back by Lucan Haynes. All looks okay heading into T1. Minor argy-bargies, but no spinners as they all made their way through. What a phenomenal effort as Joe Bakum fighting out. It's got Ruin Heineke trying to get around the outside. He's got his own teammate, Bego Hrobler, just ahead of him as they charge on. Jason Farmer down into 5th place, going late on the brakes, seeing if it can work out in his favor. Darren Miller fighting out with a bit of a concertina effect, and that is Bego Hrobler. Hrobler is backwards through the field, and everyone having to take avoidance there. Bego Hrobler in the 15, unfortunately landing up with a bit of a problem. Let's take a look as he was fighting out with Rian van der Race up on the inside, diving towards a sharp left-hander at the top, late on the brakes. Oh, a little bit of contact, and that, the whole cause of it came from his own teammate. His own teammate running into the back of Rian van der Race went and tapped the back of Bego Hrobler, and I don't think that was intentional. That was just a concertina effect, but definitely a face palm moment coming in for the team. Rian van der Race, unfortunately a passenger in that whole debacle, lost out. Reginald Buttalini trying to get some drive. Ruin Heineke dives to the inside as the McLaren not getting the drive out of Parabolica. The Ferrari dives into the pits of Ruin Heineke. A couple of drivers opting to get into pit lane and get themselves sorted out as Daniel de Villiers takes the fight to the front. Fleming Bauer going defensive as de Villiers sweeps in across the nose. Beautifully done, stops it dead on the apex. And Bauer loses out the drive. Christoph Peterson hot on the heels, now gives chase and looking to get on by for Fleming Bauer. This is a nightmare case scenario. He needs to beat the likes of Daniel de Villiers, and Christoph Peterson cannot get by, but Jason Farmer waits in tow for his opportunity. Gerpukas also in the Mustang, waiting for his chance to run towards the sharp end of the field. A drive-through comes in for Sean Loureiro for speeding in pit lane. A stop-go 32nd coming in for Ruin Heineke for exceeding track limits. So Heineke getting a bit of a hammering as well. Many of the drivers are already starting to feel the pain, but two drivers like Loureiro and Heineke, unfortunately, their championship hopes getting put to bed currently, and we'll have to think a little bit more as we have Ricard Muteleni up against Jared Bakum as they fight it out for second place in the Pro-Am class, with Graham van der Race starting to open up the gap. Tianas Buerta hanging in the back, waiting for his time to come on by. The pro driver will be waiting in tow. Daniel de Villiers opening up the gap over Fleming Bauer. The McLaren not having any luck out there, but it's PWSR that charges on into second place. One of the better starts out of the entire field comes to the Sisson GTR, and now claws his way up to second and stares down at Henry Mayer ahead. Christoph Peterson looking to try and manage the gap between himself and Fleming Bauer as Jason Farmer, the Griffin Sim Racing driver, looks to put the hammer down and has the one and only Stingers Racing, Claire Bucas, onto the back of him, trying to make up a little bit of time here and seeing where he can make up a position or two. Remember, the championship is still wide open. Henny Porchita for the Racing Sales, side by side with Herman Whipner up on the inside. Herman trying to go as defensive as possible. They got Vesselwerder and Benjamin Till in tow, but it's contact between Herman and the likes of Henny Porchita. And once again, another bit of contact as they come across. And it does look like Herman gets the drive. Got a lot of drive out of the corner away from the likes of Henny Porchita. Vesselwerder will continue on the drive, and Benjamin Till as well. A couple of drivers coming into the pits. The likes of Fears gets into the pits. Ruin Heineke, Sean Loureiro going to be serving their pit stops and getting those penalties out of the way as quick as possible. Benjamin Till keeps a close eye on the fight ahead of him as Vesselwerder looks up on the inside, heading into Ascari. Late on the brakes, couldn't quite get the nose in of that Mercedes. Underneath, Henny Porchita does lose a little bit of drive, and now Benjamin Till comes right onto the back of him. So still lots and lots of time on the board for our drivers to go and battle it out. Jonathan Crisset going for the inside line, backs out of it as he sees Benjamin Till just ahead, and Anton Lummers sits and waits as well as he looks for an opportunity to come on by. Does go and keep a very tight line on the way through as well, but I do think that I saw the pit board, the speed limit board, stopped, parked out on the circuit, so someone might have clipped the board. Tianas Buerta, Reginald Muteleni still carrying on by, but Luke Lane's just a little bit of a love touch there, just saying, come on buddy, you need to go, you need to make it work. Jonathan Crisset getting past, and now Benjamin Till under a bit of pain as Vesselwerder got the pass into T1, and Benjamin Till now needing to defend against a fellow Lamborghini driver. Jonathan Crisset gives him a little bit of room, tries to cut back in ahead of Anton Lummers, gets it sorted out nice and neatly, but costing him a bit of time, being stuck on the outside. Anton Lummers in the McLaren, the Treehouse Works Racing, continues to put on the drive, looks towards the inside line. He says, not quite my opportunity as yet, gonna rather wait it out, and Lesmo 1, Lesmo 2, and work down to Ascari. So it's all about straight line speed here, folks, for each and every one of our drivers to make it work out in their favor. Tianas Buerta getting past the likes of Luke Nance now gets to look at Reginald Muteleni. Keegan Bowen chasing him down along with Chris Biermester, Herman Whipner, Henny Porchita, Vesselwerder, all in tow. But for the front end of the field, it's Henry Mayer putting in the fastest lap time of the race at 1:46.7. He is really stamping on the gas, trying to run away. Daniel de Villiers sitting in second place with Fleming Bauer on the back of him. Now, looking at the times and based on qualifying, Henry Mayer's putting in times of 1:46s, which is very, very close to what he was actually setting in qualifying. Does that mean that Henry Mayer is planning a short stop now? He's got less fuel to try and open up the gap compared to everyone else that's gone for a full tank. like Daniel de Villiers and Fleming Bauer, Christoph Peterson, all running in the 147s at the moment. Henry Mau's the only one that's been successfully knocking it down to the 46s, despite track not being completely up to grip. And that might be a Vaughan strategy to see if he could get the run. As Darren Miller trying to get past Rian van der Race, couldn't quite get it slotted in. We'll have to wait yet another couple of corners to get the pass done and dusted. Reginald Mutileni is in and out through the pit and rejoins behind Jackie Alberts, who started from pit lane. So Reginald Mutileni leads out those that have done their first pit stop and will continue on the charge. Darren Miller trying to go late on the brakes with Rian van der Race, first of our Pro-Ams, who looks to continue on the charge. Jared Bakum, Tienes Buerta following suit, and Luke and Haynes keeping the pressure on the likes of Tienes Buerta, wanting to see where he can get on by. Keegan Bowen dealing with Chris Biermeister as they come down the back straight, heading towards Parabolica. Little fights building up around the circuit, but who has got enough to go the extra mile in this race? It's a 1 hour 20-minute race. We do expect all the pit stops to be done around about 40 minutes into the race, especially around a circuit like this, as everyone is needing to figure out what is going to happen to stay at the sharp end of the field. What do they need to do to stay at the top of the running pack? Keegan Bowen, Chris Biermeister finding it out and doing everything they can to step it up, to make their mark and to fight for position. And I know that there is going to be a bit of communication coming in for the PWSR drivers. Alan will be going and saying, how's it? And going and cheering on for Daniel de Villiers and Darren Miller, both sitting into that top 10. Both not in a comfortable place at the moment, but focusing on their charge. Jackie Alberts, after starting from pit lane, the Racing Snails Ford Mustang into 20th position. Reginald Mutileni ahead of Bagel Krobler, Jared Torres, Ulrich Dialga, Henk Petersen, Sean Herrera, Ruben Heineke, and Johan Verveers, who are out and racing. But it does look like Verveers didn't quite get stopped in the box to get it all sorted out. He needs to go back in another 2 times. And unfortunately, he's going to hurt him because he's already gone and come out of pit lane since the start of the race, and will have to go and serve his 2 pit stops, but he's miles behind in time at this point. Henry Mayer opening up a 3.7 second gap to Daniel de Villiers. Now, early on in the race, the gaps aren't too bad to think about, but it's not something you don't want to let get taken away too far down the road. Any Porhita sweeps across the front of Vesselwodo, who tries to take it a little bit deeper into Parabolica. Brings it out wide, gets right into the toe, trying to utilize all the grunt out of that Mercedes to catch up to the Ferrari ahead. That 296 is extremely nimble, but doesn't quite have the top end to fight out against Vesselwodo's Mercedes. You can see how quickly he gained the time on the short straight. Continues to try and get right underneath the likes of Porhita's rear wing in through turn 1, and now out of turn 2, making their way around turn 3, where it's flat out stuck on the outside line. Vessel's going to have to really dig deep here if he wants to try and get it under braking. Looks towards the inside line, late on the brakes, just not enough to get it past. Henny Porhita will have to wait yet again. Hopes to get the drive, and definitely got a much better drive than Porhita. Porhita comes off the gas, Vesselwodo gains the position, and now Porhita has to deal with Benjamin Till on his tail. Vesselwodo for the pros looks to open up the gap, but for our Pro-Ams, the fight is on. Benjamin Till, Henny Porhita, the closest fight currently on circuit continues, and we are about to see a major race of Till, Villiers, Porhita. The Lamborghini driver trying everything possible for the Team Wolf, seeing the Racing Snails of Porhita continues on the charge, just trying to keep the momentum as they follow their way into Parabolica. Darren Miller right onto the back of Rian van der Race, Now this is going to be an interesting one for Thunder Race. He can fight for overall track position against Darren Miller, or he's going to just rather let him go and get pulled along. Many factors you got to think during the course of this race, especially with an hour and 20 minutes and a championship on the line. For a Thunder Race, he cannot afford to fall out of first place. He needs to stay as far ahead as possible, knowing that unfortunately Reginald Mutilini has already gone into the pits. Oh, Vessel Woda getting it out of shape into turn 1, and now getting some work done to the car. What on earth happened to the 133 car? So this is heading to turn 1 as we cut to a replay. Is it going to be late on the brakes? We do see Benjamin Hill venturing to the inside line of Porchita. Late on the brakes for both of them. And oh, just the lightest of touches come through from Porchita up against the back of Vessel Woda. And unfortunately, that spun him round and cost him a bit of time. Reginald Mutilini having a little bit of difficulty with Gerard Pretorius. Both of them landing up with a bit of contact and not ideal circumstances for Reginald Mutilini. Let's quickly take a look at it as Gerard Pretorius, Reginald Mutilini heading into turn 1. Side by side they go. Gerard, I think, gave a little bit of a shoulder rub, holding that inside line, and a little bit of late apex. Slight touch there. Nothing too bad. And continue on the drive. But I do get alerts on the system from the likes of Tim saying, hey, there's a big problem here, because Rian van der Race had a bit of contact with Darren Miller, the leader of the Pro-Ams, having a bit of a problem with Darren Miller as they charge their way through. And take a look, took all the curb going into Ascari, and there's the shoulder tap from Darren Miller, who had the understeer, and Rian van der Race spiked into the wall and getting his car caught in a bit of a problem. Reginald Mutilini nearly losing it as well, coming through Ascari and battling his way through. So a bit of a change up in the lead for the Pro-Am as Jared Bakum into first place. Rian van der Race will be sporting a bit of damage on the car, and unfortunately not going to be working out in his favor. He took way too much of the anti-cut curb on the entry to Ascari. He went and came back onto the circuit. Darren Miller hooked on the left-hand side, nowhere to go. He also caught the anti-cut curb, going and shouldering into the side of Rian van der Race. Nothing both drivers could do at that point to keep it all out of the walls. Unfortunately, only Rian van der Race landing up with that impact. Darren Miller, going and taking the sweat off his brow, is able to keep going with a little bit of damage to his car. Nothing too bad in the running. Jonathan Christer, Tennis Puerta, in and out through the pits. And it does look like Tennis Puerta had a lot more work done this time around. Spent 31.2 seconds in the pits, and that is a full tire change as well for Tennis Puerta. 722 car landed up in a problem early on in the race, and this is what happened when he was fighting with Reginald Mutilini a little bit further back. Look towards the outside line, cut back for the inside. Reginald holds the outside, late on the brakes, and there's the contact a little bit from Lucan Haynes. Nothing too bad, but just enough to unsettle the car. Jonathan Christer lets Tennis Puerta come on by, as they know they're not fighting each other in class, but Jonathan can utilize the toe to bring himself a little bit closer to the likes of Peter Surhead. So, still a good race happening out here. All drivers going, but big problem for Reginald Mutilini as he came to a stop, coming out of Ascari, and now just trying to get his car back and going. Slow running for him, lose out to Ulrich Diaga, and unfortunately going and creating a little bit of a problem. The internal server error driver not having an easy time and really starting to scrub those front tires on the McLaren as he tries to bring a little bit of pace back. Lucan Haynes up on the inside of Thunder Race, gets the pass done and dusted. Thunder Race sporting quite a bit of damage to the car, will not have the top end to fight out against the BMW of Lucan Haynes, but he can keep in the toe to defend against Keegan Bowens. So now Rian van der Race got to think about how is this game plan going to work. What does he need to do to try and make his way through. He holds on to third place at current, dives over the curbs, looks towards the back of that BMW, carrying a lot of momentum. Keegan Bone going a little bit too far out, losing that little bit of time as we jump on board the rear wing of Rian van der Race as he accelerates down towards Parabolica. The Griffin Sim Racing team of Keegan looking to try go for the inside line and takes it very, very tight. Swings out with a bit of understeer. Looks to also try and figure out what's going to be it as Van der Race dives into pit lane. Van der Race dives into pit lanes, gets some repair work on his car, and will free up Luke Haynes and Keegan Bone to continue on the drive. Herman Whipto, Chris Beamister, Benjamin Till, all being promoted up as Van der Race will need to do some repair work on his car. Is this going to be it for the championship as he needs to finish ahead of Reginald Mutileni as he fights out to try and make his way towards the top spot to claim his first ever Pro-Am win here at RaceFace.Pro for the EG Evolved GT3 Championship as we head into the first hour. And what I got to say, 20 minutes completed of the race very, very shortly in a couple of seconds. 1 hour to go, and drivers still need to figure out what's going to be the big game plan here. Jackie Alberts is up into 16th position from starting pit lane, but it's Bego Krobler who leads the charge of those who have done their first pit stop. Jared Pretorius, Ulrich Diogo, Reginald Mutileni, Henk Petersen, who likes to run for the race, Tianis Buerta, Jonathan Chrysler, all getting themselves out there and ensuring they can stay in for the fight as well. So drivers trying to figure out what is going to be the big moves here. Sean Larrera, after serving his penalty, will be battling his way through. A drive-through did not help out his case. Same as Ruan Heineke, who lost out with a stop-go 30-second penalty off the start of the race for going and abusing track limits. Sean Larrera for a that would be stop-go for it would be for the pit stop, and Sean Larrera got it for track limits exceeded for that drive-through. So drivers needing to think a little bit more, but let's take a look to our front pack because this is a case that's evolving as the race continues. Daniel de Villiers now starting to fall back into the clutches of Fleming Bauer, who is pushing harder and harder to try and go for a win. Fleming Bauer currently lying 5th in the championship on 209 points. Daniel de Villiers sits with 238 points. Bego Krobler sits in between them on 222 points. Now, Bego Krobler is further down the field, not having a good time out there. Christoph Petersen, who is currently sitting in 4th place, is currently sitting 2nd in the championship, looking to try and improve, looking to try and get the run. As we do get further reports of a bit of problems for Sean Larrero, stopped out and trying to get himself going, and that's Jonathan Chrysler as well. The 996 and the number 2 car running into a problem. Let's quickly go and take a look at what happened there. So Jonathan Chrysler in the Lamborghini ahead of Larrero in the Ferrari. Late braking over the curb, say go. A little bit unsteady on the exit. There's a contact for Jonathan Chrysler into the wall. Larrero going and trying to wait up for Jonathan, who's now in the wall yet again through Parabolica with no option to tow the car back to pit lane after the spin. And it looks like they may have just retired Jonathan Chrysler's car out of the race. And we have got confirmation there. Jonathan Chrysler out of the race. Mechanical damage just too far gone. And now having to sit on the sidelines and watch the race unfold. What a blow for the driver, the Lamborghini driver, Jonathan Chrysler. He was putting in everything he could to try and see it through to the end. 11th in the championship. Only one DNF in round 4, and unfortunately it looks like for the final round we'll be getting another DNF. So it seems every 4 rounds it's a DNF for the Lambo driver. Jonathan Chrysler unfortunately not having an easy time out there, and the team saying, listen, it's done, it's over. And I would have to argue, I'd prefer to see that car getting back out on the circuit. You may be further down than where you wanted to be, but there is still an opportunity to score points. I mean, 11th in the championship doesn't mean that you're out of the running of the top 10, I would say. Rather see it through to the end. You've seen the whole season through thus far, except for one race, but don't make the final race something to forget about. Rather see it through to the end. So that is my call to Jonathan Chrislett and the team to get that car back out on circuit. Fleming Bauer hunting down Daniel de Villiers. The McLaren now stepping up the pace onto the back of the Nissan GTR, but the PWSR GTR is not having it any other way but wanting to run ahead. Daniel de Villiers keeps it nice and tight, heading through Parabolica. He looked towards pit lane, hoping to bait Fleming Bauer a little bit. Fleming was not going to fall for it. Now keeps into the toe. Middle of the circuit they go, switching to the outside into T1. Bauer not going and fighting for the pass at the moment, waiting out his time. See his teammate now 7.5 seconds clear of both Daniel de Villiers and Fleming Bauer, and continue on the charge. Christoph Peterson a little bit in no man's land at the moment in 4th place, with Jason Farmer going and trying to close up a 2-second gap to him. Karapukas also out there in 6th place, with Darren Miller up into 7th. 8th place and first of our Pro-Ams is Jared Bacum, followed by Luke Mans. Keegan Bowen in 3rd. Herman Webner trying to make up some time, holds 4th place with Chris Biermeister. Benjamin Till on the back, and Anton Lummers will be the last of the last running. But we are getting some bit of information coming through from Zoot, saying that internet connection died as I went into the first corner with Benjamin Till on the Snails Ferrari's tail. No idea what happened after the screen went down a black hole. So unfortunately that was just based on a little bit of contact with Benjamin Till, and I do believe that would have... I'll have to take a look at what happened on the driver. So not an easy time out there, but if I can get your car number, we can possibly see what happened on the disconnect and show you here on the broadcast. So if you're more than happy to share your race number, I can take a look. But Fleming Bauer, Daniel de Villiers, 3rd and 2nd, 0.8 of a second separates him. 54 minutes to go in this race. Still a lot of time to be had. And so far, Bego Krubler, after the contact and the spin, that really caught him out. And unfortunately, not an easy time, where lands up his own teammate, created the concertina effect into the back of Bego Krubler, spun him into the field. Thankfully, no major impacts from any of the drivers, but now just trying to make up time. He is in 16th position. He stopped for 5.2 seconds and went and fought it out. So we are getting a number from Henny Porchita saying that they did have a disconnect. We'll try and look out for the 676 driver. And there is our yellow flag and contact. So here we go. Henny Porchita of what happened on the race when you disappeared into oblivion. Benjamin Till went for the inside line late on the brakes with the Kramadoulis team, and oh, there's a little bit of contact with Vesselwoda, goes off into the dirt, and that was the disconnect there. So just caught the back of Vesselwoda's car and spun him around. But that being said, Vessel is still up and driving. He's not out of the race just as yet and still focusing on the charge. Reginald Mutulini getting past Henk Peterson, and Henk now put onto the Christmas list for Reginald Mutulini, going and saying, okay, well, you helped me out there, I'm going to put you on my Christmas list and hand you out a present at the end of the year for giving me that little bit of room, making a nice easy pass without the fight. Fleming Bauer keeps pressure up on the likes of Daniel de Villiers as they carry on the momentum, jumping on board of the McLaren, shouting to try and close up the gap late on the brakes, trying to dive into T1, but de Villiers getting a lot of drive, stops it dead on the apex, and there's a torque from the Nissan, pulling out of the corners and giving it everything he's got right through to the end. Now the question that comes in is, how long can he keep going? Now, I do want to ask for the likes of Henny Porchita, I know that you've run into a little bit of a problem, but I'm sure there is a chance you could get that car back out on the circuit for the Racing Snails to see it through to the end. I mean, you saw the green at the beginning of the season. 8 races ago, you saw the green flag. You don't want to sit with a DNF here in the final round of the race. So, my call goes directly to any Poki to see it through to the end. Get that car across the line, not just for yourself, but for the team. You've had a DNF in round 2. You had a non-starter in round 3, a non-starter in round 5. Let's see you get through to the end. The team is trying to get up and going, and honestly, I believe that you will get it out there. So keep up the hard work. Let's get that car on the circuit and see it through to the end for the Racing Snails, because I have never seen a snail go and give up against all odds. And I look back even to a movie that the Racing Snails, I think, would be a little bit based on. And the movie has a very interesting name. It's called Turbo. If you've never heard of it, look it up. If you have heard of it, that is a snail that didn't give up despite the odds being against it. Daniel de Villiers defending second place against Fleming Bauer, who looked to the inside line, couldn't quite get past, aims to the outside, but just not getting the torque drive out of there. 2.3 seconds is the gap between himself and Christoph Buesen, so enough breathing room to not panic too much. But at the moment, for the likes of Fleming Bauer, the frustration starting to show. Little by little, the McLaren driver now starting to figure out, hang on, I'm losing out to de Villiers here. I'm going to score less points in the championship. And after I'm trying to fight it out to get back into the top riding of the championship, to get into that top 3, de Villiers needs to finish further down the field. This PWSR car is hammering on and continuing to stay in for the fight. So for Daniel de Villiers, the second place here tonight is exactly what he needs to lock in third place in the championship. If Daniel de Villiers stays exactly where he is and keeps Bago and Fleming Bauer behind him, he will take third place in the championship. And for a pro standing here at the EG Evolve RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship Season 23, but also the very first season that EG Evolve has jumped on board to see all the racing through to the end. Going to be going and saying, right, we need to put the hammer down. This is a good show for PWSR to have both their drivers, Fleming, likes Daniel de Villiers and Darren Miller, sitting in that top 10 and looking to fight their way through. It's going to be a good day in the PWSR pits, but it's not over just as yet. So, as we continue on the race, 49 minutes remain in the running order. Reginald Montaleni having Henk Pedersen keeping the pressure on and try and make his way through. Now, Reginald's getting a little bit loose on the car. He did have a short stop along with Henk Pedersen, and both just getting a splash and dash, but the McLaren starting to react a little bit violently, and we saw Tennis Buerta with that tank slapper as he came through Lesmo 2 as well. Pedersen getting on by Reginald Montaleni as they do a little bit of a swap round on one another, not to go and lose too much time, but to think about what they need to do to stab towards front. Anton Lummers into the pits for the Treehouse Works Racing. He has got his teammate Conrad Martin, who was racing last night in LMU, and will be fighting out to bring both a front running order for the Treehouse Works Racing. Luke Hinanes into pit lane as well, as they're trying to get their stops done and dusted. Bago Frobler will still lead out the pack of those that have done their pit stop. Jared Pretorius will be in second place. Ulrich de Jager will take on third, as we do see Anton Lummers coming out of the pits. Is it going to be enough to get ahead of Henk Pedersen? And it does look like it. Anton Lummers gets out ahead of both Henk Pedersen and Reginald Montaleni. And this is going to be a great one, because this is full class position and overall. So Anton going and making a good call there for his stop. A bit of a later stop this time around. Luke Hinanes coming out onto the circuit, did a bit of repair work to his car as well. So full tyres, fuel, and a bit of repair work. 40.3 seconds in the box. Same as round for the race with a 44.7. Tiana Sportser with 31.2. That is for tyres and fuel. But everyone above them, right up from Bego Krobler to Reginal Mutalini, all sit with only a splash and dash. Henk Petersen gets on by. Anton Lummers takes it back. Goes to the inside line through Lesmo 1, heading into Lesmo 2. Petersen lost out that little bit of drive, and now Reginal Mutalini climbs all over the back of him, looking to try and get on by. Keeps it very, very tight up against that rear wing of Henk Petersen. Tiana Sportser waiting for his opportunity to come back and fighting. Late on the brakes, and it does look like Reginald just not having the grunt underneath him to stay in for the fight. Vesselwoda now into pit lane, looking to continue on his drive and looking to get that pit stop done and dusted. Tiana Sportser chasing on. Now sees Reginald Mutalini a little bit caught out. Tries to look for the inside. However, not able to get the run. But we are getting word from Tim down in the pit, well, from Jim, who's down in the pits, that Henny Pulchita is back in, and they rolled the car out of the pit box. They're out of the garage into the pit box, and they're going and getting that car sorted out. So we will see the return of the racing snail that said, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. And I am absolutely through the roof for that one. Henny Pulchita going to be fighting to get that car back out. He's a little bit down the order. However, it is all about the go and zero quit attitude that I love about sim racing. Vesselwoda fighting the likes of Anton Lummers as they've all done their pit stops. Henny, good luck to you, buddy. Keep up the hard work. We want to see it through to the end. De Villiers and Bucas pull into the pits as we do see Lummers into the dirt. Vesselwoda gets on by. Reginald Mutalini, Henk Petersen all get on by. Jackie Albert's completing the pit stops. And so is Tiana Sportser. With 45 minutes left to go, we have got a variety of drivers trying different strategies to come into play to see where they fight out. Bego Krobler in 13th is going to be the one we'll keep an eye on to get ahead of De Villiers and Claire Bukes. He took that earlier pit stop after being caught out with the contact at the start. Does get past the likes of Bucas, and De Villiers moves himself up into 11th position. So Bego Krobler continues to get the climb back after a problem at the start of the race. Reginald Mutalini now all over the back of Henk Petersen. Yet again, these two fight it out, but they're going to be looking a bit further back at Jackie Alberts, who's completed all the pit stops, and saying, well, this is not ideal circumstances here. When are they going to get into the pits? Well, for Vesselwoda and Henk Petersen, they took their opportunity now. Reginald Mutalini continues on the drive, trying to catch up to Ulrich Diaga and Gerald Pretorius, who have both done their first pit stops. And there we go, folks. The racing snails that disconnected came back, had that little bit of contact with Vesselwoda due to a disconnect. Henny Pulchita back out on track, and it's all about getting it through to the end. And this is what we've been seeing all season long for the EG Evolved GT3 Championship. When the chips are down, when you've got nothing left in the tank, you dig deep, you go and push on, you fight it out, and you get that car back out on the circuit. If you see the green, you gotta see the checkered. And that is what Mr. Petersen is, likes of Henny Pulchita, is gonna do, regardless of where he is out on the circuit. For the team, he is out there representing. For the team, he will be bringing home the points. For the team, they stand united here at Monza for round 8 and the final round of the championship. Henry Mayer opens up the gap even further away from Fleming Bauer, now catches up to Anton Lummers and Reginald Mutalini as he's going to have to carve through the back markers and not lose too much time. He's 11.5 seconds ahead of Fleming Bauer, so there's a good bit of gap between them. Christoph Petersen and the likes of Jason Farmer will be also taking a look towards the sharp end. But leading out the field for our Pro-Ams, it is Jared Becum who's up into the top 6. and has got Keegan Boeing and Herman Whitner on the back of him. But with that being said, let's take a look at the biggest gains and biggest losses in this race, because there's been quite a few, folks. And the biggest gain is Benjamin Till with 14 positions up. Started in 24th, he's up into the top 10 and still goes, and second of that, up 10 positions from where he started. Chris Biermeister. Jason Farmer into the pits from 4th place, will drop down the order but continues on the drive, as we do also take a look at who had the biggest fall, and that is Rian van der Race, who's back into the pits. So Rian van der Race into the pit lane. This would be the second stop for him to get it going. Jace Farmer, Keegan Bowen, Herman Whitner, Chris Biermeister, and Benjamin Till all dive into pit lane. This is going to work out for Bego Krobler as he battles his way through. He's going to try and close up the gap a little bit closer. Jason Farmer going to be coming out of pit lane in front of him, and he will look forward to that Ferrari. Sees it right up ahead and says, Jason, I am coming for you. But there's a bit of work ahead of him to get past, as he's got the likes of Jan Fiers ahead of him, who's chasing down the likes of Jackie Alberts. Jackie Alberts out there in the Mustang. The Fiers in the Ferrari 296, as Bego Krobler needs to try and get this pass done quickly and efficiently. Not able to get it through turn 3. Aims towards turn 4. Stuck on the outside. Peterson goes and opens up the gap and says, listen, you get on by for the trail bullet seep. So Peterson gets that pass sorted out without running into too many issues. Goes and loses out there a little bit of run to Jackie Alberts. Bego Krobler's going to be quite happy about that. Once again, another name to the Christmas list. Anton Lummers and Herman Whitner finding out for the same piece of tarmac here. McLaren and Ferrari continue on the drive. Herman just trying to keep that inside line as much as possible through turn 3. Heading into turn 4, it's going to be in the favor of Anton Lummers, who has to go a little bit deep here. 100-meter mark, late on the brakes, gets a nose forward. Can he stop the cutback? And he does. Oh, contact! Contact, and another bit of on contact. Herman Whitner catching the back of Anton Lummers, landed up with the likes of Jan Verveers getting caught in that contact, and Henny Poelgeter coming on by. But what a run for the likes of Luke and Haynes, who got the safe passage on the way through. Not ideal circumstances for Anton Lummers, who got clipped. Just didn't have the pace there. Herman gave a little bit of a touch on the rear, and unfortunately that flipped him around and turned into a bit of a catastrophic nightmare for the drivers. Let's quickly take a look to our helicam on that one and see how it all turned out, how it all transpired. So, Anton Lummers deep into the left-hander. Carries a lot of momentum, but had to slow it down a little bit more. There's the contact from Chris Biermeister. Spun him in front. Verveers getting a little bit of a tap onto the back of Herman Whitner after that, as it turns into a bit of a fighting game. Both drivers aren't going to be too happy with that one. Jace Farmer, Ulrich Diaga come into the pits. Reginald Mutaleni gets on by. Keegan Bowen, Lucan Haynes all continue on the drive, but Bego Krobler is the big talking point here, as Jared Bakum, his own teammate, leads out the field. A Pro-Am leads out of those that have still yet to do their first pit stop. Henry Mayer in second place has set the fastest lap time of the race and is currently 4.4 seconds ahead of Bego Krobler. Jared Bakum dives into the pits, and it's going to be a bit of an interesting one where he comes out, as Gerard Pretorius is going to be the one to keep an eye on for him here. Pretorius for the Griffin Sim Racing team, currently second of the Pro-Ams, and in a net first place with Reginald Mutaleni in a net third. Jason Farmers completes all his pit stops along with Ulrich Diaga, Vessel Woda, Tierna Sporter, Rian van der Race, Jackie Alberts all have done their stops. Joe Bakum into the pits, and Bego Krobler dives into the pits as well to complete his final stop. Henry Mayer continues on the charge. De Villiers up into second place will be battling his way through. Christoph Peterson holding on to third. It is all a waiting game. And now the question comes in. Who will pull the trigger first to get into the pits? To get that final stop done and dusted. As all will be taking a look to 14th position. Likes of Jason Farmer is the benchmark here as the driver to keep an eye on. As Joe Bacoup coming out of pit lane, we'll see Reginald Mutaleni starting to close up along with Keegan Bowen, as well as Jared still holds on to first place. Jared Pretorius into the pits to serve his final pit stop in this race. So Jared has really got to put the hammer down here. Second place, Reginald Mutaleni is desperate for the points. Herman Whitner catching up to Chris Biermesser. Change for the two of them is the Panassi drivers going to work together with one another to get the go. Well, it's up and under for Herman Whitner on Chris Biermesser through turn 1 into turn 2. Not a lot of room left there for the drivers. We are getting reports that the number 12 car has come to a stop, and that is Rian van der Race. Rian van der Race off into the dirt. 23rd position, completed all these pit stops, and unfortunately, folks, heartbreak for Van der Race from leading the championship. Round 7 went all into a mess, and unfortunately, the final round of the championship is that done and dusted. Van der Race bring the car to a stop, and it does look like they may have a bit of a problem with it. I really hope for the Kramanulis team that they can get that car back out on the circuit to see it through to the end. There's still points out there, and this is my call to the GSR team. Rian van der Race, get that car back out on the circuit. It hasn't been your night, but don't end it on a low. Let's get you across the line. See it through to the end. If you see the green, you got to see the checkered, and you need to see it through to the end. You've been fighting all season long for the championship. 2 rounds didn't go in your favor, but it's not thrown out of the woodwork just as yet. We want to see that car out for the last bit of this race. Henk Petersen continues on the fight with Jackie Alberts. Jackie lands into the dirt, getting a little bit squirrely out of Lesmo too. So is Henk Petersen as they fight for position. For Fears and Porchita still need to get their stops done. Wepner and Biermester need to get their stops done. Lucadades, Bowen, Mutalini, Miller, Bucas, Bauer, along with the likes of Peterson, De Villiers, and Henry Mayer need to do their final stops in the race. At current, Jared Bacoum leads out the Pro-Am with Reginald Mutalini and Keegan Bowen. Into the top 3, Henry Mayer, Daniel De Villiers, and Christoph Peterson lock out the top 3 of our Pro. 34 minutes remain of this race, and it's still time to keep it through to the end. 26 starters. At the moment, we've got 25 runners, and I do believe that Van der Race could get that car out to see it through as 26 starters, 26 see it through to the checkered flag. Henk Petersen all over the back of Jackie Alberts trying to get the drive. Hatzig is really standing on the brakes there. The Mustang stopped dead on the apex, landing with a bit of a problem. Chris Biermester going and minding out of the way for Bego Krobler, who comes on by in 13th position. This is going to be an interesting one to watch out for because just one position ahead of them is Herman Whitner, and there is Jason Farmer. Completed all his stops, was fighting out in the top 5, and now in 11th position, eyeing out an opportunity to get a little bit closer. Henk Petersen all over the back of Jackie Alberts, trying to really push underneath the car. Daniel De Villiers is going to see these two fighting out and going to be asking, would you like to be on my Christmas list here, folks? You two need to just kind of give me a little bit of room. I'm on the charge. As a quick flash of lights for De Villiers as he tries to get the likes of Petersen to get out by. Petersen uses the indicators to show where he's going to be, and a beautiful job there. Well done on situational awareness and utilizing a bit of signal to allow Daniel De Villiers to get on by without too much interference in their fight, and also for De Villiers to not lose too much time. And now Henk Petersen knows he needs to watch on that rearview mirror, seeing the likes of Christoph Peterson getting a bit closer and Fleming Bauer, but yet he doesn't want to lose too much time to Jackie Alberts, the Racing Sales Ford Mustang, through Parabolica, trying to get the drive. Here comes the Nissan GTR of De Villiers right up against the rear wing. Looks to the right-hand side to get the pass done and does into T1. Jackie Alberts slots in behind, wanting to pull himself along a little bit further, late on the braking, and does look like De Villiers getting a bit squirmy into turn 1. The Fiers and Pojita continue on their drive and continue to fight it out, but taking a look at those that are needing to get the stop, and that is our current top 10, all needing to do their final stop, waiting for the opportunity here of who's going to pull the trigger first, who is going to be one standing at the top of the order, who's going to be fighting out through the race. But Henry Mayer, a victory here tonight is a certainty for a victory in the championship. Christoph Peterson finishing up in 3rd place, will hold on to 2nd, but only just as Daniel De Villiers for that 2nd place will cross on to 3rd. 2nd place gets 43 points and 3rd place gets 38 points, but there is enough spacing between the likes of Peterson and De Villiers to go and hold their respective positions. Begor Grubler, who is 4th in the championship, needs to get past Fleming Bauer, needs to get into the top 3 to maximize these points, get into 3rd place. However, that is not the case right now, as Begor Grubler is fallen down into 12th position. He's trying to close up the gap to Jason Farmer. Benjamin Till keeps pressure on Vesselwoda as they continue on the drive. Herman Wepner exiting pit lane. We'll see these fighting duos ahead of him, and Vesselwoda keeps the pressure on. He wants to get the drive as quick as possible. Benjamin Till stays in for the mix as they are racing till the very end at the moment for the likes of the Pro-Am driver. For Benjamin Till, he doesn't have to get this pass done and dusted. He can wait. He can utilize the toe to bring himself a bit closer to Ulrich Diaga, Jared Pretorius, and Chris Biermeister. However, he doesn't want to lose too much time as well. For Vesselwoda, he doesn't want to get into unnecessary fights because he's got Begor Grubler as the target to go for, along with Jason Farmer as they're a bit further up the road. Rachel Mutalini into pit lane. The Canadians and Keegan Moen will gain a position here. And a bit of a late move coming in for both Keegan, Jeremy Coombe, all thinking, can I stretch this tank a little bit longer? Can I stay in front? Rachel Mutalini going for the undercut to see if it will work out in his favour. Benjamin Till all over the back of Vesselwoda. Look left, look right, just trying to dive it around as Henning Porfita dives into pit lane. Trying to get some work done on the car. He's got 2 stops to serve after his disconnect, but he's going to get it done and dusted. He will gain a position for round for the race. It looks like the driver has taken off the helmet, got it out of the overalls, grabbed an ice cream, and is going to be watching it this race till the very end. Heartbreak for Van der Race, who was 2nd in the championship. He's going to lose out this run by not finishing. He's going to lose out to Jared Beckham and Keegan Bowen. That's going to drop him out of the top 3. And that was that. 7 rounds of hard work now all put to bed after having mistakes made and unfortunately the team retiring the car. Karabukas into pit lane. In the top 10, diving into the pits. And this is going to be an interesting call for likes of Karabukas, as he does give the position to Darren Miller, who comes on by. Jason Farmer up into the top 10 will be looking to try and get up ahead. Luke Canadians, Keegan Bone, going to be marching on with one another, as Keegan needs to keep up the drive of the Ronis Motorsport 10 car out there in the Red Bull colours. Looks to stay ahead of the racing styles of Luke Canadians in the BMW, who looks around the outside. He's not going to go for the inside line. He's going to rather wait it out late on the brakes, really trying to get some of that trail braking in through turn 1, turn 2, and back onto the power before they head into turn 3. But it does look like a McLaren just having the edge at the moment. As they come on by, Jason Farmer up into 9th position, gets ahead of Bucas, and now looks to stare at Lucan Haynes and Keegan, who are fighting out for the Pro-Am standings. This is going to be an interesting one. Jared leads out the field, but 2nd and 3rd place is still up in the air between Haynes and Bowen, who are fighting tooth and nail at this point to go that little bit forward. Now, Keegan Bowen is currently sitting 4th in the championship on 211 points, and he's trying to keep ahead of Lucan Haynes, who is closing up on the back of him. Lucan Haynes down in 17th position on 84 points. So, not fighting for championship position. However, Keegan doesn't want to lose touch with the likes of Reginald Muttolini, Jared Picum, and likes of Chris Biermeister, Gerald Pretorius, all needing to be right there in the mix. He doesn't want to lose too many points when it can be a big break for him to stay in for the running of 3rd place. Veswoda, Benjamin Till, once again fighting out. Benjamin Till looking to try get past Veswoda, really leaning on him a little bit there, trying to see where can he get on by. However, Vessel not backing down, will be looking and saying, listen buddy, rather stick behind me, let's tow each other along instead of fighting against me here. Jackie Albert's into the pits, getting some work done to the car, and will be heading out shortly. Did, however, have to visit the pits 3 times during the course of this race, and not for the greatest of it. Just starting out in pit lane, got the climb back up into the grid, now completing the mandatory pit stops, will be returning to the field. Hasn't been a night to remember for him. However, gonna try and see it through to the end, no matter what. For Fears, Porchita still continue on the drive as they hold 24th and 25th place. Henny Porchita after the disconnect. 12 laps down, still not giving up the fight for Fears, just a little bit of ahead of him. Young Fears will be looking to put the hammer down. Henry Mayer sets the fastest lap time of the race at 1:46.7 as they charge their way through. Keegan Bowen trying to get the pass on Lucan Haynes. We still see Benjamin Till now lining up to get past Vesselwoda. Holds the outside line. Reginald Muttolini right ahead of him in touch. Vessel not letting it happen. And this is going to be just a pain. Jackie Alberts gets a drive-through penalty for speeding in pit lane. But for Benjamin Till, he now knows the bigger problem here. Reginald Muttolini is within arm's reach. However, Vesselwoda out there in the Mercedes is going and fighting for on-track position. And rightfully so, you can fight for on-track position. However, for Benjamin Till, it is a car that is defending and protecting Reginald Muttolini to open up the gap. Reginald needs to put the hammer down. He's got Ulrich Diaga, Gerald Pretorius, Chris Biermeister still ahead of him as he focuses on the charge and hoping to gain as many points as possible to fight it out. So as they hang on for the huge sin of note, Jared Bakum on 226 points currently will score a full 50 points if he stays where he is. However, it is going to be some incredible work for him to stay there, as Reginald Muttolini is the closest in that fight for overall positioning. Now, Jared Bakum finishing on first place at the moment. He will finish with 276 points. Reginald Muttolini at the moment, who's further down the order, he is currently sitting 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th position as it stands. And he will be only scoring 27 points in his run. So, Reginald Muttolini will have to really think about how can he gain the gap. He's on 252 points. And he'll get 27, so he'll be on 279. They'll be matching to one another. So Reginald needs to get the climb a little bit higher for the likes of Jared Bakum. He needs to hold that first place if he has any hope to go for the gold for season 23. Vesselwoda once again defends the line. Benjamin Till, no way to get on by. And this has now brought the Ferrari 296 of Herman Whitner a little bit closer. And Herman is fighting for class position. This has turned out into his favour. Reginald Mutilini slowly getting pulled into the clutches of Vessel Woda. Now Vessel can get past Reginald Mutilini and let these three brawl. Benjamin Till nearly losing out the drive to Herman Whipner, who gets right onto the back of him, accelerating as hard as he can to make it work out in his favour. Dives to the inside line, looks back and decides not to. Daniel de Villiers in second place overall, second in class for the Pro Division. Sees this fight ahead of him, not wanting to get too involved. Herman Whipner having to straighten out the steering, not lose too much time up against Benjamin Till as he fights his way through. Vessel Woda now looking to get past Reginald Mutilini. This is going to be an interesting call, because is Friendships going to help out here to say, hold position, hold station? Are you going to protect me, or are you going to fight me? For Vessel Woda, as a pro, he doesn't want to get involved in the fight to the Pro-Am. He doesn't want to deal with their stuff. However, for Benjamin Till, he's got Herman Whipner going and chasing him, looking left, looking right, trying to figure out where can he get this pass done and dusted. De Villiers, who's 15 seconds off Henry Mayer, will be thinking, I don't want to lose too much time here. Christoph Peterson currently 2.1 seconds behind me, but we still need to get into the pits as our top 8 yet to do their final pit stops. Chris Bemser in 12th still needs to do his final pit stop as well. Vessel Woda up on the inside, gets a pass on Reginald Mutilini, who lifts off the gas, but that has brought him into the clutches of Benjamin Till and Herman Whipner. De Villiers flasher lights yet again, trying to get the attention of the likes of Herman Whipner and Benjamin Till, saying, listen guys, I'm making up a bit of ground here, but I'm also losing a bit of pace. This is starting to hurt me, because at the moment Christoph Peterson has gained a little bit more time. However, Whipner and Benjamin Till are fighting. They're tunneling a vision into this. Reginald Mutilini also looks to the inside. He's trying to get on by. This may turn things on its head for our pros up into the top spots. However, it is about getting past nice and easy. You're not allowed to barge your way through too much. Herman Whipner looks to try and get past Benjamin Till. They go side by side into Barracarlica. That is contact. That is contact. Whipner into the wall. Benjamin Till stuck on the outside. What on earth happened to the 33? Let's take a look to the helicam here, because it was side by side between them. Charging through Benjamin Till to the middle of the circuit. Reginald Mutilini was slow, and it was just Mutilini slow on the straight. Contact as Herman Whipner went to the grass to try and get on by. Benjamin Till got past on the left, and that was all she wrote. Mutilini slowed on the pace, and it is this is terrible for Mutilini. What is going on with the car? Mutilini has got a serious problem with the car. Very, very slow. He does have Herman Whipner come on by, but Mutilini feeling a bit bad after that one. Whipner will need to get into pit lane, but Reginald, who was slow on the exit, caused a bit of a concertina effect and thrown it into the wall. But in doing so, Reginald Mutilini, he's let Peterson go on by. Oh my heavens, don't tell me this is so. Reginald Mutilini has got a problem. Reginald Mutilini's got a problem. And what this has done now is Reginald Mutilini has thrown away the championship. Both Rian van der Race and Reginald Mutilini running into problems. Both have thrown the championship right out the way. And now it's up to Keegan Bowen, Johan Verveers, and Jared Bekum with an opportunity to rob for the championship. Jared has a chance to win it. Keegan has a chance to go in second, and Verveers has a chance to get into the top 3, as this is a nightmare case scenario for Reginald Mutilini. My heavens, what have we just witnessed? What have we just seen? Anton Lammers letting Tennis Puerta come on by. 17 minutes to go, and we have seen the entire race turn on its head. Daniel de Villiers still continues on. Peterson continues on. Mayer completed his final pit stop, is in third place, and will be looking for a victory here. Darren Miller has kept a consistent effort. Now up into fourth place, got one more stop to do. But Jeremy Coombe, out in first place, is looking. Can he pull the trigger later or earlier compared to likes of Haynes and Bowen, who are going to be fighting it out? But Jeremy Coombe, by finishing out in first place, a victory here tonight means the young driver has scored to get into the top and score the gold on a debut outing. For Team Wolf, this is all or nothing for Jared to stay in for the fight. Third place on the cards? Well, let's talk about first at the end. And all he needs to do is hang on to this top 5. He needs Keegan Bowen to finish behind him, as Keegan will be moving up into the top 3 as well. Keegan will be more than happy to take the points away and ensure he's in for the fight. With Rachel Muttolini, when he was lying down in 7th position, to get 27 points. But Jared Beckham going to be gaining full points here for the likes of Keegan Bowen, who is holding second place at the moment, will be scoring 43 points in his championship and will move him at 254 points. That will push him into the top 3. And if Keegan holds second, that is going to be one to talk about. That is going to be the big talking point for the drivers. However, the Pro-Ams running into a little bit of a problem that has completely changed the landscape of the championship for them. For our pros, however, Daniel de Villiers is looking to hold on to currently third place of Christoph Peterson. Finishes up behind him. It is good day at the office for the PWSR and back to victory ways in the run. Bego Krobler keeps pressure on likes of Bucas, who pit a little bit earlier in the race. Jason Farmer a little bit further up the road as they continue on by. So for Krobler, taking that earlier pit stop, not only just the first time, but as of the second, trying to undercut the rest of the field, now needs to try and focus on what is his main drive through to the end. Jason Farmer out there in 8th position has been keeping a consistent effort. Benjamin Till back onto Vesselwoda as the two fight it out. Till did take the right move in going to the left-hand side. Herman Webster unfortunately went for the right-hand side of Reginald Muttolini, which landed up with a huge impact. Reginald lifted to allow the faster cars through, however, costing him a bit of time and creating a monster of an impact heading into Parabolica. Bauer into the wall. Fleming Bauer into the wall. Clipped the grass, and that was the impact. Nearly rejoining in front of Anton Lumbers. He does, however, come across. He does see the likes of Jason Farmer get past him. But Fleming Bauer with major damage to his car, and that is going to really hurt, as on the back of him is Bego Krobler. Bego has an opportunity to get past Fleming Bauer to still put his foot forward. Fleming Bauer, a crucial mistake has cost him time here, and now he's got not only just Bego Krobler, he's got Kieran Bucas on the back of him as well. That is going to make it extremely wild as Bego Krobler to the right gets on by. Fleming Bauer had to lift. He's got too much damage to the car. He's battling to get it all sorted out. We got further contact coming in. Benjamin Till losing it. Now down into 16th position. Keegan Bowen into the pits. Bauer into the pits. Till getting himself going. It has come unglued, folks. It has really come unglued here at Monza. Ruben Heineke, who rejoined the circuit, he missed out, but it is Reginald Muttolini into the pits. Muttolini is in the pits and dropping through. Was stopped in and a drive through as well. Reginald Muttolini from bad to worse. A championship within grasp. Now firmly out of the running. His first ever Pro-Am victory thrown away at Monza. It's a heartbreak for the Noob Nation, as they will be crying tears forever and above. Christoph Peterson for Logistical Nightmare Racing dives into pit lane. Daniel De Villiers continues on the drive. Miller will keep the pressure on to try and get past Peterson. He still needs to get into the pits, but Jared Beckham is one to keep an eye out for, as he needs to go into the pits. A victory for Jared means the championship bagged in this race, and he needs to keep ahead of Gerard Pretorius a little bit further down. So for Jared Beckham, for the Team Wolf driver, it is now looking to be pack lead. His teammate out of the top three, but for Jared McCoom, an opportunity arises for the young driver looking to step his name in the pros come season 24, but still needs to really keep up the pace here. Miller up into third place. The PWSR cars continue on the drive, both needing to do their final stop of the race. Jared Beckham and Chris Biermeister needing to do their final pit stops. Fleming Bauer getting some major work done to the car after a catastrophic loss of grip straight into the wall, smashing the front end of that McLaren and getting some serious work done on the car after all of that. Never a race you want to have. Reginald Mutaleni having the drive-through penalty, and I am dead sure there is silence in that car at the moment between the two on there. Reginald Mutaleni coming and stopping next to Fleming Bauer, trying to bait Fleming Bauer to come out of the pits, who's getting some major repair work done to his car. I don't think that Mutalini is aware of that damage. Henry Mayer comes on by. He's holding second place. Reginald Mutalini rejoins the circuit in 21st position, just ahead of Henry Mayer. De Villiers continues on the drive to open up the gap. 21.7 seconds. The question is, can the pit stop work in his favor here to try and make it get a little bit ahead of Henry Mayer? It's going to be cutting it close, however. Henry Mayer needs a mistake to happen for De Villiers to hang on to first place, and we can't count that out, as they have all been pushing the limits at the moment. They all been trying to figure out what is the game plan, and for De Villiers, who's pushing harder and harder out of Les Mode 2, 2 wheels on the dirt, 38 laps in, 9 minutes and 30 seconds left in this race to go. For Darren Miller, it's all or nothing. This would be the best result for Miller all season long. It has been a nightmare of a season, but however, Thriller Miller has kept going, whether it's supporting on the sidelines or trying to see it through to the end. He is on for a drive to go and fight it out. Jared McComb, currently in 5th place, needs to do his final stop. Chris Biermeister in 2nd place of the Pro-Ams, needing to do his final stop. Gerard Pretorius has completed all his pit stops. So drivers circulating, trying to get themselves going, trying to figure out what is the big game plan here to go that little bit further. And I do think that Fleming Bauer still stopped in pit lane, having some repair work done to the car. I wouldn't be surprised if Fleming Bauer has dived to the pit wall to try and radio into his team, saying, listen, this is what's happening. Flash of lights from Daniel De Villiers to Ulrich de Jager, saying, come on, buddy, you got to give me a bit of room here. I am on the pace I need to go. I need to get this pass done without losing too much time. Late on the brakes, slings the car in for Ulrich de Jager in the BMW. He is currently running in 13th position, trying to catch up to Keegan Bowen. De Villiers throws the Nissan GTR out very, very wide, trying to get every bit of momentum possible, trying to sit in the mirrors of Ulrich de Jager, saying, come on, I need to get round you. A quick flash of lights yet again. De Jager holds the inside line and looks to continue on. Late break for the likes of Daniel de Villiers. An early lift for Diaga, trying to utilize the toe there. And it's now game on for de Villiers. 20.7 seconds ahead of Henry Mayer. 7 minutes and 20 seconds left of this race. Can the PWSR team crack the nod? Can the PWSR team put in a stellar effort to find out? Christoph Peterson, 5.4 seconds back on Darren Miller. When Darren gets into the pits, that's going to be an easy overtake. For Miller, however, his game is to be sitting in the top 5, to stay in for the fight. It is going to be a huge, huge run for all the drivers. Getting some reports in from round from the race, having a bit of damage taking a little bit early on, and unfortunately Fun Race having some massive impact, and unfortunately retiring the car. We don't want to see that. And Fun Race, from taking a run in the championship, now getting a loss of the championship. Darren Miller into the pits, getting cheered on by Alan Patterson. Henry Mayer coming out of turn 2 will be looking up the road. He does, however, see that Christoph Peterson trying to close up the gap. 18.5 seconds back. Jared Bakum up into 4th. Darren Miller into the pits. And this is going to be the case for Jared. When does he get into the box? Because Gerard Pretorius is going and closing up that gap in 9th position. Lucan Haynes, Keegan Bowen, Ulrich de Jager, all trying to get a little bit closer for Jared. A victory is needed here tonight to take the championship, to usurp the likes of Reginald Mutileni, to usurp the likes of Rian van der Race, that's had a just not a race to talk about for the season. Both drivers losing the grip on the championship. Reginald Mutileni slows up and allows, it looks to be, likes of Fafirs to come on by and going and continuing. Sorry, that was Henk Peterson that came on by for the Trail Bullets team. Henk Peterson going to be quite happy on that one, saying thank you very much, Reginald. I'm going to keep up the pressure. I'm going to keep on the drive, and we'll be focusing on the big momentum here. I mean, this is where it's just trying to circulate, just trying to see it through to the end. And for drivers that had a disconnect, and despite that, I've got to give the props up. Hedy Porchita, still out there for the Racing Snails, despite being disconnected, despite being laps down, still needing to do the pit stops, continues on the drive to see it through to the end. Reginald Mutileni through pit lane yet again, and going in, just allowing cars to come through. There's Christoph Peterson that gets on by. White flag shown for slow car as Reginald Mutileni just continues to try and circulate at the moment. Daniel de Villiers leads out the pack, 20.5 seconds ahead of Henry Mayer. This is going to be a galloping run for him. It's going to have to be a short stop to try and get it done. It's going to have to be just a litre of fuel to see it through to the end, to get that final stop underway. For de Villiers, he's racing his heart out at the moment to keep ahead of Henry Mayer and Christoph Peterson. If he finishes in 3rd, he's 3rd in the championship. If he finishes in 2nd, he's 3rd in the championship. But Daniel de Villiers wants to be the driver to go and see it through to the end. He wants to see that final checkered flag given to the PWSR team. Jared Bakum needs to still get into the pits for his final pit stop. 3 minutes and 24 seconds to go. De Villiers into the pit. Has he got enough room to Henry Mayer? No, he has not. As he do see Jared Bakum trying to keep up the momentum in the Lamborghini. And Jared not going into pit lane. Henry Mayer will continue on the toe and pull himself along. De Villiers into pit. Misses out on 1st place is Christoph Peterson. Going to be the next one to come on by as he exits Parabolica. De Villiers in 2nd place. Will have to race his heart out. He will have to get off that pit limiter as quick as possible. He does, and holds on to 2nd, but only just because here comes Peterson diving into turn 1. It's going to be close as it's side by side. Peterson does get the edge He does get by. And for De Villiers, loses out the position. He gets caught behind Chris Biermeister and will now have to battle to try and close up that gap. A quick flash of light saying, listen, buddy, you need to kind of move out of the way. Big problems come in. Henry Mayer's lost it. Henry Mayer's lost the car. He's trying to get himself going. He's trying to get the car restarted. This is going to be a big run for the likes of Christoph Peterson and Daniel De Villiers. They can see Henry Mayer up the road. They can see a victory possibly in the bag for Christoph Peterson. It is all or nothing. It's going to come down to the final lap, whether he can get the victory or not. As Mayer has only exited Lesmo 2, we see Christoph a little bit ahead. Mayer making a critical mistake and may have just hurt the championship. Now Peterson needs to keep the hammer down to make it work out in his favor. One mistake out of Mayer means that he has thrown it away. 8 seconds separating them. And remember, Daniel De Villiers' point is 2.3 seconds off the back of Peterson. So now, for the final laps, it is going to be drive, drive, drive. No mistakes. You got to be perfect here. You cannot lose out. Jared McCoop, at the moment, leads out the Pro-Am field. A victory here tonight means a victory in the championship. We are getting word from Jim down in the pit lane saying this is a final lap for the leader. And that radio message will echo through all the drivers. Rachel Mutalini driving through pit lane yet again and just trying to let the cars come on by. De Villiers 2 seconds off the back of Christoph Peterson. Henry Mayer opening up the gap just a little bit more. 8.2 seconds separating them. And however, I don't think that was all on purpose. I think a little bit too excited into the chicane cost him a bit of time. And nearly, if he didn't get that car underway, Christoph Peterson, Daniel De Villiers would be crawling all over the back of him to try and take that victory away. But Henry Mayer managed to get the car going and open up the gap. Now the question is, Christoph Peterson, can he hold on to second, or we lose out to Daniel De Villiers, who continues on the drive? Tim trying to pick up the cameras. Pit lane is closed, and it's all or nothing for every single one of these drivers. Rachel Mutalini is stopped somewhere out on circuit. He is just spinning the car around and trying to get himself back up and going. Henry Mayer comes on by. 1 corner to go. And in a blaze of glory, in a charge to the line, Henry Mayer is only a couple of meters away for taking the victory and taking the EG Evolved ACC GT3 Championship Season 23 champion. Henry Mayer of Pandacity takes the win. Second place of the championship for the pros goes to Christoph Peterson. Third place of the pros goes to Daniel De Villiers across the line. And he swings it. Oh, there is Chris Biermeister. Not what we want to see live on a broadcast. And Daniel De Villiers threw the car to the wall. That landed up with the impact. Jason Farmer finishes up in 4th place. Bego Krubler chased him down 0.9 of a second. Separated himself, and Jason Farmer holds on to 5th. Herb Bucas comes across in 6th place. Darren Miller will finish up into the top 10. And gonna be smiling after that. He's fought all season long through highs and lows. And for the highest scoring position all season for him, the PWSRs finish in the top 10. But your Season 23 Pro-Am champion goes to the Team Wolf. It goes to Jared Bekum, who takes the victory, who goes and beats out Rian van der Race and Reginald Mutilini. Lucan Haynes will take 2nd place here tonight, with Keegan Bowen taking 3rd place in the Pro-Ams. What a run for him. And he is going to be gaining some time, some launch, and putting himself into the top 3 as he beats out Reginald Mutilini and Rian van der Race. Keegan Bowen has now got himself successfully locked in to the top 3 of the Pro-Ams. What a race, folks. What a stellar time. And what a time here at Monza as everyone crosses the line. But man, oh man, have we seen it all here tonight. Drivers having to really dig deep for victory, having to claw their way from the brink. For others, it is a race to forget, a season of heartache, and coming down to an out-and-out fight for our drivers. Monza, once again, putting on a phenomenal show. And for season 23 of the EG Evolved GT3 Championship, where all the champions had to fight it out at the last race. Whether you're pro, whether you're pro-am, it was a race for victory, and only one can score the victory here. And what a race it was, folks. So we're going to take a look to some of the highlights of the race and get a little bit of an idea of what happened here of the EG Evolved GT3 Championship. Well, we wait to bring in our drivers. Let's actually start bringing in some of our drivers, starting off with our pros, as I can see them in the box. And we've got the likes of Daniel De Villiers, who finished up. Daniel De Villiers out there in this in GTR. Third place for PWSR and third place in the championship. How are you feeling after that?
Yes, Stephen, I feel relieved.
I mean, what a race out there. Lots and lots of hard work. But let's talk about that incredible start that you had to charge your way up. It seemed like you had everyone caught sleeping at the line.
Yeah, no, this one is amazing on a start. I've been practicing that whole braking point just to know where can I brake just to win a couple of places. But yeah, it worked. But yeah, I'm happy with the result.
And to think about this, third in the championship. You've been fighting all season long. And let's take back to season 22. Not working out in your favor. Missing out a lot of racing out there. But joining up season 23. Getting third place. Fighting it out against the Pandassi. And bringing, yet again, long-awaited some of the silverware back to the PWSR pit.
Yeah, I wouldn't say silver, but bronze is fine. But yeah, no, we had to take a break from RaceFace and get our heads together, the team and everything. So, but yeah, this is great motivation moving forward for the next season and upcoming races.
Well, it was still a stellar effort on your part. And looking and reflecting back on the championship, what was your best moments that you can kind of take away and put on the wall in a picture frame and look at it saying, that was my part in the championship?
No, I think today's race is my highlight. The start, of course, but yeah.
Well, it's absolutely great. And your teammate finishing up into the top 10, Darren Miller with a 7th position. I know Alan Patterson has been viewing on from the pits. He's going to be ecstatic on that. But before I let you go to enjoy the celebrations after getting third place in the championship for really fighting your way through, anything you would like to say to the admins, to the sponsors like EG Evolved, our title sponsor, to any of the drivers, the teams, and most importantly, the petrol aids?
I'll say first and foremost, congratulations for Henry. He drove a flawless season. Even with his disconnect there in Donington, he drove absolutely flawless. To Mr. Christoph Peterson, you wonderful oak for undercutting me today. But yeah, he deserves the second place in the championship and today's race. And to my team, Darren, for a brilliant race. It's been a long time coming, and he's driven flawless today. And for the support from everyone, Alan, the team, and the crowd, and RaceFace and so on, thank you for everything. And yeah, for the sponsors, thank you for an amazing season.
Absolutely wonderful said. But Daniel De Villiers, congratulations on the victory, and go and enjoy the celebration. You absolutely earned it. Return to form for the Hitman.
Thank you.
Daniel De Villiers taking third in the championship for our pros and done a stellar effort. Let's bring in second place of our pros to come and have a chat to us And before we move on to the winner of our pros, second place in the championship and taking second place here in the race, Christoph Peterson. Well done. You fought hammer and tongs till the very, very end. How are you feeling after this race? I mean, you didn't quite have the outright pace. You said last week you weren't sure about the straight line, but we just heard from Daniel de Villiers, the pit stop going and changing things up right at the end.
Yeah, that's like, usually it's not my thing to have the best pit stops, but this time I had really clean pit stops, and I think Fleming overshot his box or something in the first one, and then when I saw Daniel struggle a little bit when I was just behind him and entered the slipstream, I thought I'm not going to fight with him, I'm just trying to undercut him, and then that worked out really well actually. So I'm happy.
I mean, it's been a season for you. A lot of highs and lows, a lot of runs. When there was this chance, Henry Mayer spun out towards the end, did you feel that, hey, listen, I have a chance here to take the position. I have a chance to go and clinch victory. I mean, a victory here, it was needed, but you really stuck in the fight throughout the race. And it just seemed like Lady Luck smiled a little bit on you towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of watching the others a little bit, stayed behind, because there was not much, like I didn't have anything to lose with the 60-point gap to P3, and it was also borderline impossible to get the title, because Mayer is super consistent. He normally doesn't bin it anywhere, and we also don't have that many pros, so you get a lot of points even if you just finish the race, even when you're 2 laps down or something. Like last time at Donington where he had the disconnect. So I wasn't like hoping for much. When Miles, my race engineer for this race, told me that he spun, or like I saw that he's suddenly only 8 seconds in front of me, then I thought, oh, he made a mistake. Maybe he has some damage and I can get another lucky win. But I'm also really happy with P2. Like the first half of the season, I just wasn't quite there. So he deserves that title way more than me.
Well, I still say a well-deserved fight for the championship. Christoph, before I let you go to enjoy the celebration and to also Miles being in your ear, who's usually one of your competitors out in ERA, anything you want to say to the teams, to the drivers, to all the amazing sponsors, to our title sponsor, EG Evolved Simulator Rigs, and to, most importantly, the petrol heads out there in the virtual grandstands cheering you on?
Yeah, thanks to everyone for making this season possible. As I said last time already, I had good fun coming back to RaceFace after one season of a break, and yeah, I don't know. It was good to compete with all of them again and see where I stand at the moment, and yeah. Not much more to say.
Absolutely well done, Christoph Peterson, and honestly, a well-deserved second place in the championship. Looking forward to seeing you next season battling out for the gold.
Yeah, thank you.
Christoph Peterson, logistical nightmare racing and Fear the Bones driver, coming out from ERA to go and fight out for the championship. But that being said, let's bring in the winner of our pros and the winner of our Pro Championship Season 23, our Season 23 champion, the Pandacity McLaren, Henry Mayer. Welcome to the commentary box. Once again, having a victory underneath your belt, but this one, you had to fight, you had to claw, you had to scratch to hold on to. How are you feeling after this race?
No, that was a boring race, actually. Being out front the whole time was getting a bit boring there at the end. That's why I made the early stop, and then I forgot about the DC off and making some fun.
Making some fun. Well, that little bit of fun could have been a devastating loss for the championship. However, taking a victory here has gone and put you in line for taking the win for season 23. If you had to look back at the season, through some of the highs, some of the lows that you've had, what would be your standout moment that you can put a picture frame on the wall and say, hey, that was my moment?
I think the best moment probably was when Fleming won at Misano for his birthday. That was like perfect timing, perfect day actually. So maybe that, or even the Valencia race at the start, like Peterson showed he was going to bring it the whole season.
Well, it was still great to see you out there. Anything you'd like to say to our title sponsor, EG Evolve, to all our sponsors, to the admin, to the drivers, to the teams that you've been competing with all season, but most importantly, all the fans out in the grandstands that have been cheering you on throughout the season?
Yeah, just a massive thanks to everyone for making this possible. Like, keeping RaceFace going, I think, is a lot of hard work. So, thanks to Bertus and everyone. Thanks to you, Stephen. Being here every week, not racing, I think it's killing you inside. And then just thanks to all the sponsors and all the viewers.
Well, it was a phenomenal one. Congratulations on taking a victory and adding yet another bit of the silverware to your trophy cabinet, taking a gold here in the EG Evolved GT3 Championship on ACC for Season 23. Henry Mayer of Pandacity and the Pandacity team getting a win in the team championship as well. So congratulations to them on a stellar run. PWSR going and taking second place in that championship. Let's bring in our pro-ams to come and have a chat to us. And, well, we're going to start off with a pro-am that really had a bit of a heartache here tonight. Before we bring in our top three, let's bring in Reginald Mutalini to come and have a chat to us. Reginald, welcome to the commentary box. And man, oh man, from the highs of excitement of leading out the championship to it all falling apart, what was racing through your mind when it all started going wrong?
Hello everyone. Well, Stephen, the last race for me, unfortunately, you know what, I'm an arrive and drive kind of driver, so unfortunately the setup just didn't, it didn't set up well. I tried my best to hook it up, but it was just overly unstable for me to maintain pace. So, at the end of the day, I just decided, you know what, because on the initial few laps, I was like, okay, cool, let's go for an attack. But as soon as I got right behind Gerard's, tailgate, I could feel like this setup is a little bit, it's something I can't tame. But just decided, you know what, let me just back off and just enjoy the race and finish it off as much as I could.
Well, it was still a great race indeed. And now take a look. Anything you'd like to say to our title spot at EG Evolved, to all our sponsors, admin, to the drivers and teams that you competed around all season long to fight out for the victory, to try and fight for the victory here, and unfortunately just not able to get it in the final round?
Look, I'd like to say big ups to our sponsors. You guys have been pretty awesome. Thank you very much for the awesome support that we got from you guys throughout the entire season. And obviously, let's not forget our people on the grandstands that we love so much. They keep everything exciting in the chats there. Thank you very much. And then to all the admins in RaceFace, thanks for the hard work in the background that you guys have been doing. As I've said, those background guys, they're not seen, but they make the train move. And then to all the racers, what an exciting season, to be honest with you. It was a lot of it has been a lot of unexpected movements throughout the entire grid. Each racer had their strengths and weaknesses in certain tracks. So it was awesome racing, and thank you very much. Without you guys, we can't really have a race, to be honest with you. So throughout the whole entire community, we do, thank everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're a racer or any sort of whatever title you hold. I'd like to say thank you very much, actually.
Well, stellar work, and congratulations on finishing the race, and condolences. But I'm looking forward to seeing season 24. it's gonna be Reginald's time to get the victory. Eh? I'm tired of seeing you so close yet so far. Season 24, you got to change that.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think this is like actually the third season that I'm close, but so far again. But yeah, no, definitely. If things do turn out well in general life, actually I'll get a little bit more time and hopefully the pace will start showing, to be honest. But yeah, no, you know what, to be honest, I really enjoy your commentary. And every night after a race, I actually just go back and watch. So yeah, you've been doing a stellar job, and we definitely thank you for your time.
Reggie, you hit that wall a little bit too hard, but I'm going to let the medics check you out because that's a bit of... If you're caring about my voice, you hit the barrier a bit too hard there, buddy. Let's let the medics check you out. Oh, man. Original Mutilini going and... man, when you can feel the despair in the voice, and he's busy saying he likes my voice, I don't think it's the case. The medics are going to be checking him out psychologically and physically. But that being said, let's go and bring in our top 3 for the victories here in the Pro-Am. Starting off with the likes of Lucan Ains. Lucan, congratulations on a second place here in the Pro-Ams. How are you feeling after fighting it out there and not having the easiest of times, including some very, very close near misses?
Sorry, just repeat that. My internet is a bit slow.
No problem. How are you feeling after the race? You've had some close racing. You got second place in the race for the Pro-Ams. How are you out there?
It's about time. I'm very chuffed. Didn't have the best of seasons. Had some disconnect, some wheel trouble. But finally, we finished it strong. So hopefully next season we can start it strong again.
Well, absolutely great stuff on your part. If you could take any moment during the course of this race and put it in a picture frame, because you had some really good moments and some rather scary moments, what would be the moment that you would put on a picture frame?
There was one very close call when I passed somebody. He went a bit slow into the corner, and coming out, we had like a little bit of a bump next to each other. It could have gone very south, but I think that would have made one of the best pictures, that exit of that corner. So I like that.
And that was going with Anton Lummers heading into the second of the chicane. But Lucan, congratulations on going and getting a second place here in the Pro-Am. Anything you want to say to all of the drivers, teams out there, to EG Evolved, our title sponsor, and our associate sponsors, as well as all in the virtual grandstand? They're cheering on the Racing Snails team, and even your own teammates, Henny Porchita, returning to the track after a total disconnect.
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to you for always helping us with the stream and doing some amazing commentary. And as always, thank you to EG Evolved and all the people joining the RaceFace race to make it fun and interesting. Henny had a bit of internet trouble and Jackie came a bit late. It's a bit of a hit and miss because it would have been fun to race Jackie out in the front. But yeah, no, it was amazing. Thanks to everybody who joined, and remember to like and subscribe.
There we go, and keep an eye on the Racing Snails. They're going to be coming back for a victory in the championship. Lucan, congratulations and well done on a stellar effort.
Thank you, Stephen. Have a lovely evening.
Lucan Ains are the Racing Snails coming out and chat to us. But let's bring in third place in the championship and third going and taking likes of third in the Pro-Am. Keegan Bowen to come and have a chat to us. Keegan, congratulations for coming up to the commentary box. But let's talk about what has happened during the course of the race. And we're going to kick things off. Season 22, not your highest of moments, but season 23, you have just put yourself third in the championship at Monza in the final race and have gotten yourself onto the podium at Monza. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, it's been good. My season 22 wasn't so great because I had quite a few technical difficulties. Kind of threw me all over the place. So yeah, I struggled with that. But season 23 has been good. Had no issues with the car. It's been a really fun season. Really enjoying driving around with the faster paced guys, kind of like finding my bearings. Did not expect to finish tonight so well, and then to finish in the season so well too.
Well, when Lady Luck smiles upon thee, you get towards victory. Keegan, honestly, a phenomenal time. If you had to look back at your races, and I mean, there were so many moments that you had, some near misses, some highs and lows during the course of the race. I mean, you picked up a victory in round 5, but you've also been flirting with the podium more than once during the course of the season. Anything that you would want to put in a picture frame to hang on the wall and say, that was my moment?
I would definitely say, I mean, I can't take all the credit for Zandvoort, mainly because most of everyone died in the field. But yeah, I've had a few races where it's been very close, very tough races. But I enjoyed every single one of them. And yeah, tonight's race was a little bit sketchy. Got tapped as I was going into the pits. I was worried I was going to get a random drive through. Because of that, went into the pits at 48 kilometers an hour and got pushed up into like the 60s. So that was fun. Luckily, the luck was on my side, so managed to not get a drive through for that, and got to finish my race nice and cleanly. Because I was running so little aero on the car, I did struggle to kind of keep it smooth on the track. I had a few little oopsie moments tonight. But yeah, overall, the season has been phenomenal. I've loved it so much. The more and more I race for RaceFace, the better and more exciting everything gets. So yeah, happy to either stick in Pro-Am next season or move up to Pro. We'll see what RaceFace has in mind for me.
Well, a 3rd place in the championship for season 23 is what you had in mind, and that is what you scored. Anything you would like to say to our title sponsor, EG Evolved, to all our associate sponsors as well, but also to the drivers and teams that you battled across throughout the season, and most importantly, our absolutely amazing petrol heads out there in the virtual grandstands?
Yeah, no, thank you, everyone. I appreciate all the support from everyone at home and watching and all of that. And I appreciate RaceFace and all the sponsors for really, doing all they can this season. I've seen massive improvements, massive changes. So it's really great to see how much everything is getting on track and running super smoothly.
Absolutely great stuff. Well, Keegan, congratulations on the victory, or getting into the podium now, but also getting 3rd place in the championship. Looking forward to seeing you taking the gold next season coming up.
Thanks, Stephen. I'll do my best.
Keegan going and giving us a bit of a talk there. Absolutely incredible stuff. But let's bring in a driver that didn't expect to hear these words of taking as champion. 3rd place when he was coming into Monza in the championship. Taking the victory here tonight. Jared Bickham, you are the Pro-Am champion for season 23 of the EG Evolved ACC GT3 Championship. And you took the checkered flag for the Pro-Ams here at Monza. How are you feeling considering you have just stepped up to the mark? You took the fight to the pros. You took the fight to your own teammate and walking home with the gold.
Yeah, Stephen, I am in shock. We just did the math now to figure it out. Yeah, that's I was not expecting that coming in. You know, you come in, you're like, you have a chance. It's a mathematical chance, but not a realistic chance. And yeah, shame. These things just went bad for Rian and Reginald, and I got very lucky. I got a bit unlucky tapping my teammate in turn 1. I expect to get an earful for that one, but hopefully a couple of beers will smooth that one over.
Well, let's talk about this. I mean, season 22, you ended 8th in the championship. You jumped to first here. Lady Luck smiled on you, but throughout it all, this season has had its highs and lows for you as a driver. You've hit first in round 1. You didn't start round 2. You hit it first in round 4. Round 5, you were in 16th. Round 6, you hit a first. Round 7th, you were in 4th, narrowly missing out getting on the podium. And now a victory here tonight. Taking the whole season into perspective, looking back at it, what has been the moments for you as a driver, as a Team Wolf driver that just really has stepped up to the plate?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster of a season. It's, if I'm not first, I'm last kind of deal. And then, when I missed the second race, I thought, okay, there's no championship fight here. But I had to miss it. It was the wife's birthday. You got to sacrifice the battle to continue the war. And yeah, it was just up and down. If I had pace, then I was coming first. If I didn't, I was coming last. And I think the biggest takeaway from this season was this was my first time driving a mid-engine car. So it was more about learning than anything else. And yeah, by about round 5, it started to click. And then the pace came in. There's a little less luck, a little tiny bit more skill. But yeah, I can't believe that I'm here. It's been crazy. But yeah, by about Zandvoort, it started to make sense. You can't tap the brakes to get the front end to grip like you would in a front engine car. The Ferrari is really weird. You give it throttle and it finds grip. Very strange car to drive, but it's been a lot of fun. I'm going to miss it next season, but yeah, it's been crazy.
Well, Jared, taking a look into the grandstand there, we've got Derek Beckham, who's been cheering you on all season long, going and being
Thanks,
behind
Dad.
you. I mean, do you have any words to say to your dad, who's been watching from round 1 or straight all the way through to the end? I'm sure there is just emotions running through your head and emotions running through the family's head and the team's head after taking the victory here for the championship and at Monza.
Yeah, no, big thank you. Thanks, Dad, for all the support. I definitely think you deserve a Team Wolf t-shirt. I'll talk to Bago about that one. And yeah, no, it's been great. It's been great having the support, the debriefs after the race, the calls before the race saying good luck, thinking of you, going to be watching you. So yeah, thanks so much for that, Dad, and to everyone who supported all the teams. Thanks for making it a bit more fun and getting the vibes going in the chat. And thanks to you, Stephen, for always making these events fun and checking out the VOD of the stream tomorrow when I'm supposed to be working. It's always a highlight of my Friday. So yeah, thanks to everyone involved there.
Well, then let's go and end it off the way that you need to have a VOD and that you want to hear on a Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together because your season 23 champion of the EG Evolved ACC Championship, who fought through 50 entries from Pro to Pro-Am. Ladies and gentlemen, your Team Wolf driver, the leader of the pack, Jared Beckham.
Chills, Stephen, chills.
What a stellar one for Jared, and absolutely through the roof for him. And honestly, that is incredible. There was a chance, a mathematical chance, that you're not quite sure it's going to happen, but guess what? Sometimes you get that lightning in a bottle that works out to the top. That being said, I've got one more to bring in to come and have a chat to us. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to introduce not only going and giving the broadcast for our gold and silver during the course of the season, that was cried for some time, which is always great to see, but also two of our sponsors here tonight, SBR and Rhino Utility, a driver out in iRacing, a driver to really push a team going forward. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we know him as Jacques Ever Jacques. welcome to the commentary box of our Pro Division. What a race it has been for our Pro and Pro-Am, and I'm sure Gold and Silver had a absolutely great time. But taking a look at the season for the first ever time, EG Evolve being the title sponsor here, and for you having SBR and Rhino Utility, one of our long-term sponsors, being part of the RaceFace family, it's all come to an end, but we have seen a whirlwind of emotions coming in from drivers after a stellar race, a stellar season. And I'm sure from your side, you've been hearing all the stories of some great highs and a little bit of lows.
No, hi Stephen, how are you doing, man? No, definitely. I think it's been a great season for the Pro-Am guys, and definitely on the Gold and Silver guys as well. They're a little bit lower class, but doesn't mean they're slow. They had some great battles running out there tonight as well. Actually, the championship point came down to one last little point between P1 and P2 in the Gold division, but they're all just provisional, so I'm sure the guys will have the standing soon. And yeah, I think from a sponsor point of view, to have all these nice streams and everything going on, and the promotion from you guys, it's amazing. And all these drivers in RaceFace.Pro, racing everywhere, right across ACC, LMU, iRacing, supporting us, following us on Facebook, having a look at us and everything. I think that's also good. And I think everything just went great this season, and we're definitely looking forward to the next one.
Well, it's been an exciting one, and also we spoke about the championships and the teams and drivers that have been out there, but we cannot take away from our petrol heads out in the virtual grandstands. They've been cheering on and seeing all these amazing moments out on circuit for the emotions, the whirlwinds that go in. Is there anything you want to say to our amazing grandstand, our virtual grandstands, to the drivers and teams that are currently sitting, and to those that are looking in, wanting to be a part of the next seasons across the board, across multiple different sims?
Most definitely. I think we do all this for them. We do this for the entertainment, for the views, for everything, for all them to join us and come and have a look. I'm sure all of them are willing to come and race if they have a chance. We've got EG involved, and Simulator gave us some great specials and rigs there out for you guys to go and get and come and join our awesome racing here. But without the grandstands and all these drivers and commentating and everything that we have, none of this would have been possible. So we must give a big thank you to all of them and to all our sponsors as well.
Absolutely. And from the entire RaceFace and sim racing community, we'd like to say thank you to the SBR team, and thank you to Rhino Utility for you guys sponsoring, being part of the series, the long-term sponsors, and also going and crafting magnificent trophies that are going to be out on the cabinets of our champions for the Pro-Am Gold and Silver division. So from the entire RaceFace, from the entire sim racing side, we'd like to say thank you to you and your team on some incredible work, and thank you for being part of the family that lets us go racing, to let us have a bit of fun here on a Thursday, fighting out for an ACC championship.
Thanks a lot, Stephen, and thanks a lot for promoting us out there. And thanks from Rhino and SPR to RaceFace and everybody out there. You guys must enjoy, and hopefully we see you guys out next season. Looking forward already.
Jacques Ever of Rhino Utility and SBR coming and having a chat to us, our sponsors for it. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has been an incredible season. Highs and lows, excitement building up, and a huge change up in the championships throughout the season. You couldn't have guessed who was going to be where by the end of it, and we have now got our winners. Jared Bakum taking the winning for the Pro-Am, and Henry Mayer taking the victory for our pros. What a stellar effort it has come on, and what a stellar drive it has been here at RaceFace.Pro. But like all good things, it have come to an end. The curtains will close, but don't worry, it's not over just as yet, because you can head over to SimGrid, look up RaceFace.Pro, or use the link down in the description. Join us for the racing as we're heading on to our fun series. This weekend, we're also heading for the Mid-Ram 570, making its return back to racing, and that's going to be 9.5 hours around Kai Lami to be there on Saturday, the 4th of October, and it's going to be one to keep an eye out for. That will be broadcasted, coming out live, and you want to see all the action. Get your friends, get your team ready to go and rock and roll this Saturday for the Mid-Rand 570. Next week, Tuesday, we bring back for round 2 of the RaceFace.Pro iRacing GT3 Championship, and we're looking forward to seeing what they can do, fighting it out for the top of the order. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from my side, Stephen Koenig and the entire THT Productions, a massive shout out to Tim, our cameraman, for all the hard work he does. Thank you, Tim. And to Jim, who's out there keeping an eye on all the action, giving us a bit of information, and also where the greens and yellows are. Thank you to you two on a great season of hard work. But most importantly, thank you to the drivers, the teams, our sponsors, and for you out there in the virtual grandstands that bring the heat, that bring the action, bring the fun, the excitement, the highs, the lows, the wild moments that keep things alive. You're the lifeblood of RaceFace.Pro. Massive shout out to our sponsors, SBR, Rhino Utility, Virtual Motorheads, and the likes of Simulator Cave being on with us. But our title sponsor going and putting their foot forward to show what they can do. EG Evolved Simulator Rigs being a part of our ACC Championship, being our title sponsor and taking that first big step into the sim racing scene, not only in gear, but also supporting in a different way here at RaceFace.Pro. Massive thank you to all our stewards and our admin for all the tireless and hard work they do in the background to bring the racing forward and to have it out there. Special thank you goes out to the likes of Hansi Myberg at the beginning, that's been helping out and in the background working frantically, along with the likes of Bertus Hugo going and bringing in his team to make it all work and keep the racing well enough alive here on the world of ACC. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is it. As we say goodbye to the Temple of Speed and look forward to the future, we look forward to seeing you out on our social media and joining us out on the track. Be part of the conversation, joining up on our Discord. And if you wish to support the channel and support the league, we got our Buy Me a Coffee link as well. Feel free to utilize it. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has been an incredible time. And for the final time, for the EG Evolved GT3 Championship Season 23, we get to say the words, and I want you to say it with me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen.